Our story begins on an ocean called the East Blue, where mysterious barrels drift slowly towards a cruise ship where the passengers are above are enjoying themselves. The cabin crew spot this barrel and pull it on board when they are suddenly attacked by a pirate ship captained by the most beautiful woman on the sea, Alvida, the captain of the Alvida pirates. She sends over her goons and this kid Kobe, who she kidnapped, to capture the ship. As this happens, an orange-haired girl uses the opportunity to infiltrate a pirate ship, but more on her later. In the meantime, Kobe makes himself useful by lugging the barrel he found above deck, but he is then intimidated by his crewmates who want what's in it for themselves. As one of them tries to open it, a boy in a straw hat pops out of the barrel, knocking the pirate out and scaring the other two goons away. This is the main character, Monkey D. Luffy. Being so hungry after drifting in the barrel for God knows how long, he goes below deck to get some food. Here reveals his dream of becoming Pirate King to Kobe. For context, the Pirate King is someone who has the ultimate treasure that represents wealth, fame, and power, the One Piece. He tells Kobe that this is his dream, and if he dies chasing it, so be it. This inspired Kobe to stop being a bitch and chase his dream of becoming a marine. Basically, the police of the oceans, that's what they are. At that moment, Alvida crashes into the room after reports from her men. She's relieved that the person in the barrel wasn't the pirate hunter Zoro and tries to intimidate Kobe, but Luffy calls her an old hag. This triggers an all-out brawl between Luffy and the Alvida pirates, where his abilities as a rubber man are revealed. He explains to Alvida that he had eaten a devil fruit called the rubber fruit. After some yapping, Kobe stands up to Alvida and proclaims his dream of becoming a marine. This impresses Luffy, so he helps Kobe out by defeating Alvida, sending her far, far away. The Marines show up immediately and attack the Alvida pirates, so Luffy and Kobe hop on a boat just in time to make an escape. As they touch down on the water, he locks eyes with the girl from earlier, who had used all the commotion to steal from the Alvida pirates. As they sail away, Luffy asks Kobe about the pirate hunter Zoro. Kobe says he heard Zoro was being held at a marine base as a prisoner. Luffy then reveals that if Zoro was a good guy, he would enlist him into his crew of pirates. The duo soon touch down on the island where the base is and begin to explore. Luffy gets something to eat and wonders where they could find Zoro, but when he says his name, he finds the citizens are scared. Kobe figures that his name is taboo but says the people are safe since the head marine on the island is Captain Morgan. He finds that the people are scared of him too. They soon find the base where Zoro is being held and see him tied up under the hot sun. Zoro spots them and tells them to leave, but the little girl shows up, scales the fence, and offers Zoro some food she made. Zoro refuses to accept the food, even though he hasn't eaten in 3 weeks. At that moment, 3 men come into the courtyard. The ugly blondie, Helmeppo, is the son of Captain Morgan. He takes one of the kids' rice balls and eats it, but is disgusted because it is sweet instead of salty. He has the kid thrown out of the courtyard, but luckily Luffy catches her in time. He then goes to speak to Zoro and says he would have escaped in 3 days. Zoro confidently says he has enough willpower and will survive the ordeal. As Luffy is about to leave, Zoro asks him to feed him the food Helmeppo threw on the ground. Luffy does as he is asked and reports Zoro's gratitude to the little girl. She's happy about this and then explains to Luffy and Kobe how Zoro got captured in the first place. Helmeppo had been letting his pet dog terrorize the townspeople, and it had been damaging the little girl's family's restaurant. It was about to attack the kid before Zoro threw a chair at it. Helmeppo recognized Zoro as a bounty hunter and attacked him for hitting his dog, but Zoro quickly showed him who's the boss. Helmeppo tells Zoro that if anything was to happen to him, the kid and her mother will be executed. He proposes that Zoro be tied up in their place for 1 month, and after that everything will blow over. At that moment, Helmeppo crashes the restaurant and demands a free meal. He then brags about his plans to execute Zoro the next day. This angers Luffy and he rushes to deck Helmeppo in the face. He then vows to make Zoro join his crew. Helmeppo in the meantime goes to report what happens to his dad. Luffy goes and tells Zoro he's decided he will be a part of his crew. Zoro obviously says no, but Luffy says that if he got Zoro's swords back, he would have to join his crew. He then heads towards the main building. As this is happening, Captain Morgan is busy erecting a statue of himself on top of the building. Helmeppo is still crying about taking revenge on Luffy, but Morgan is too busy ordering his men around. Luffy hears a commotion on the roof and uses his powers to shoot himself up in the air, but he causes a mishap which causes half of the statue to break off. This angers Morgan, who asks his men to capture Luffy so he can finish him off himself. Luffy, meanwhile, grabs Helmeppo and asks him to help him get Zoro's swords. Koby goes to free Zoro while this is happening. He tells Zoro that Helmeppo never intended to keep his promise. He then asks Zoro to help Luffy. At this moment, Morgan appears with his men and tells Koby that he and Zoro will be killed for treason. Zoro begins to have flashbacks, and just as their marines are about to open fire, Luffy swoops in with the swords. He shields Koby and Zoro from the bullets, and they bounce off his body since he is made of rubber. This shocks Zoro, and Luffy tells him that he is going to be the king of the pirates. Zoro is still shocked by Luffy's proclamation, but Koby tells him that Luffy is serious about this goal, and that this is the kind of person Luffy is. He then presents Zoro with his weapons and asks if he'd rather join him on his quest or be executed by the marines. Zoro agrees to join and then asks Luffy to untie him. Morgan deduces that Luffy's powers come from devil fruits, mysterious treasures that give whoever eats them limitless powers, but are hidden behind the Grand Line. He then tells his men to chop Luffy to bits with their swords. Zoro is released just in time and reaffirms his promise to join Luffy's crew. He gives Luffy the condition that he does not get in the way of him becoming the world's greatest swordsman. Luffy says he expects nothing less from a crewmate and kicks the marines off Zoro's back. Luffy then charges straight for Morgan, easily overpowering him with his strength. Even the marines are shocked that their great captain is getting beat. Helmeppo tries to take Koby hostage, but Luffy easily takes care of him. Morgan wants to use the opportunity to finish Luffy from behind, but Zoro lands a finishing blow. After this, the marines surrender and celebrate the defeat of that tyrannical captain, and Zoro collapses from his hunger. Back at the base, the mysterious orange-haired lady infiltrates the base and ties up two marines. She begins to search Morgan's office for the map to the Grand Line, but she's having no luck. She then spots the handle to a safe behind the barrel, and when she opens it, she finds what she's looking for. Unfortunately, the map she wanted had been taken by Buggy the Clown, the notorious pirate. Luffy and Zoro then head into town, where they are treated to a meal by the people. Now that Zoro had eaten, he asks Luffy about the other members of his crew. Luffy says it's just them two, and that he's still recruiting. Zoro is beginning to regret his decision. Luffy then tells the little girl that he's headed to the Grand Line next, but Koby says it's a bad idea. Ever since Gold Roger, the Pirate King, left the One Piece there, the place had been regarded as the graveyard of pirates, and it had been said that those who entered never returned. Luffy wasn't trying to hear that though, and says that if that's where the One Piece is, he would go there. Zoro agrees to go with him. At that moment, the marines show up at the restaurant. They express their gratitude to the pirates for saving them from Morgan, but they insist they leave the island immediately. This upsets the people, but Luffy and Zoro comply with the demands. The marines ask what their affiliation with Koby is, and Luffy begins to snitch that Koby was actually on a pirate ship for the last 2 years. Koby begins to freak out and is scared that if the marines find out about his past, he will be unable to enlist. He then punches Luffy, and in return, Luffy beats him black and blue. This action shows that Koby wasn't part of their crew, and the officers ask Luffy to leave. Koby understands what Luffy just did for him, and he summons the courage to ask to enlist in the marines. Despite some hesitation, his request is granted. This brings Koby to tears, and he rushes to say his goodbyes to Luffy. The marines also show up and give the pirates a farewell salute. As they sail away, Zoro asks Luffy why he wants to be the Pirate King. Luffy says he made a promise to a certain man to build an incredible crew, and nothing was going to stop him. This is just the beginning of Luffy's journey.